UFC Vegas 85. We had Nasruddin Imavov taking on Roman Dolidze, and it wasn't the greatest card, but it wasn't the worst. I hear some people saying it was a lot worse than it was. I still think it's probably a better card than next Saturday, but I'll still be watching. I'm sure a lot of you guys will still be too. Let's get into it. We're just going to give quick thoughts on all the fights on this card in case you missed it, or just in case you're curious as to what I may think is next for some of these guys. So, first fight of the night, we had Jamal Pokes taking on Thomas Peterson, and honestly, it was about what we figured the fight would be, a low-level, sloppy heavyweight fight. I mean, not a whole lot to say about this, honestly. I'm glad it was the first fight of the night. It was a little warm-up. I was watching with a couple friends, and I mean, I guess but these guys should be fighting at middleweight. I mean, my God. Yeah, Pogues ended up winning. He landed the better shots. Yeah, I thought he won, but it wasn't a great fight. It was a low-level fight. The next fight wasn't too much better, but it was higher level at least. I do think both guys, they were. I wish Landon would have went for it a little bit more in certain moments. He did on certain occasions. He landed some good shots. I thought Landon should have got the decision. I thought he won round 1 and 3, but the rounds were close, and I've seen worse decisions. I've been on the bad end of a couple bad decisions recently, but couldn't, cry robbery. It wasn't quite that bad, but I did think Landon won round 1 and round 3. I thought he ended the third round very, very well, and all 3 judges gave Medeiros the round. So a little interesting to see, but disappointing, but it is what it is. It was a close fight, competitive fight. And the next fight, we had Luana Carolina taking on Dolidze Stoliarenko. I've literally heard that pronounced so many ways. I actually think there is really just Julia Stoliarenko. But anyways, Stoliarenko had a couple opportunities for that armbar. It looked semi-close a couple times. One of the times was probably her best chance. I think it was the end of the first, but the cage was kind of in the way. So, she had her moments, but overall, we knew on the feet she wasn't going to have a whole lot for Carolina. Not that Carolina's some super high-level striker, and it is unfortunate she missed weight. I do hate when the person who misses weight wins the fight. A lot of people will be, it's just a couple pounds. Yeah, you don't understand how weight cutting works, so there's no reason. That's a story for another day. But Stoliarenko, it's a tough loss. If you can't beat Carolina, it's tough. You also got finished. You saw her get back up to her feet. She partially ate a head kick and then just completely rolled the hell out of her ankle, man. That picture is awful. You've probably seen it on MMA Twitter everywhere. Yeah. Carolina ended up getting her in a modified crucifix and just starts raining down shots, and they stopped it mercifully right at the end of the fight. Good stoppage. Carolina gets it done. Like I said, the weight miss sucks, but hey, got it done. Just a more well-rounded fighter. Speaking of being the more well-rounded fighter, man, Jung Young Lee fought Blake Builder in the next one, and honestly, it was mostly striking, but the takedown defense was solid. Builder's decent grappler. His wrestling's just not all the way there. Just couldn't get Lee down. On the feet, Lee just had such a speed advantage, such a just power advantage. He was just a better striker, just better everywhere on the feet. And lit him up bad. Had him almost finished in the first. Had him almost finished in the third, I think it was, too. Probably could have pushed a little bit more. There were people with me who were like, oh, come on, you got to push. It's like, man, the thing about it is, you push for that finish, you're probably going to get tired, and we saw that in the main event. But, Lee was able to still, he stayed pretty patient, was able to dominate the fight, especially the first and third rounds. So, good win for him. I still got to see more from his grappling, more from his defensive wrestling, because, Builder just doesn't have it there to really exploit it. But I do think Lee probably will be a fade in the pretty near future, maybe next fight or two, depending obviously on the matchup. But we'll see. It was a good performance. His striking's obviously pretty dangerous, and we knew that going into it, so it was a good win. Next up, though, we had Thimba Garimbo taking on Pete Rodriguez. Man, I thought Garimbo would win, but I didn't see it ending that quick and like that. Just caught him with a big shot, big right hand, dropped him, finished him off with the ground ground and pound. I saw it seemed like Pete was kind of trying to dispute it at first. I don't know if he's sticking to that, but I mean, he was hurt. He got caught. I think Garimbo's a better fighter. You know, it probably would have only got worse for Pete as the fight goes. I mean, it's hard to say that when he got caught. But I'm just saying, like, I do think Garimbo was going to win that fight, even if it didn't play out like that. In the end, you know, got a great finish. Obviously, The Rock was all over it. Hey, that's cool. It's a cool little storyline. And, you know, it seems like he's a good dude with a good cause. So, you know, cool to see that. Next up, though, man, we had Charles Johnson taking on Azat Maksum. Maksum drops him in the first round, bad, and then has him locked in an anaconda, I think it was, for like a minute and a half. I was screaming because I had money on Maksum to let that thing go because Charles Johnson never been finished. He's super tough, super hard, you know, super durable, good submission defense. I did not agree. I saw him push back, and he's totally right. DC saying something about, oh, he, you know, defending with athleticism. I mean, yeah, he's pretty athletic, but like, the technique was right. Like, the jiu-jitsu was on point. Obviously, DC is no idiot. Like, he knows what he's looking at. But, like, you know, jiu-jitsu is not exactly his specialty. And, you know, I just think sometimes when you're commentating fights, you're going to say dumb stuff. So it's not, some people are like, oh, DC doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, DC doesn't know about fighting. He was a two-way champion. Like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about if you're saying DC doesn't know about fighting. But, you know, definitely not his wisest words. Charles Johnson, though, man, comes back and wins the fight. I thought it was a draw. I thought Maxim 10-8'd him in the first. Second and third were Charles Johnson. But, you know, I knew that unless they gave him one of those second two rounds, which, you know, probably wasn't going to happen, 10-8's they just don't give him out, man. So Charles Johnson gets the win. Hey, happy for him. It was a good win. You know, he's well-rounded. I just think he's had some tough matchups. Obviously, this was a step up for Maxim. I thought he'd be a little bit more well-rounded. Be able to use his wrestling a little bit more than he could. But, hey, respect to Charles Johnson. It was a good win. Can't knock it. And next up, we had Molly McCann taking on Diana Belbita in the rematch. Man, this fight, I mean, I thought Molly was the rightful favorite, but I just thought the odds were off. So, and especially in lower level women's MMA, especially, you know, Molly McCann has just been somebody I've made money fading against. But, hey, you know, she looked good at weigh-ins. I was a little scared when I saw weigh-ins. I'm not going to lie. I was like, uh-oh, she's looking good. She's making this weight class well. Her body looks way better suited for this division. And, man, she came out great. Like, it was a great performance, man. I mean, hey, what can you say, man? I mean, caught the armbar right at the end of the round, and people are like, oh, she tapped in 1 second, bro. It's like, that's different when Paul Craig had Ankalaev in the choke, and the triangle choke. It's like, dude, her arm was, like, about to get snapped. And I thought she might have, like, dislocated her elbow or something. But I don't know what the effects are on that yet. But definitely needed to tap. It was over. And she was going to get continuously beat up. So good win by Molly McCann. We'll see, you know, if she can do a little bit better work in this division. I do think she sizes up a lot better. But good win. Obviously, Belbita has had a huge hole in her grappling. But Molly was putting the hands on her on the feet, too. So got to respect it. Next up, we had Charles Radke, and man, we knew Urbina could get hit. We knew he's not the most durable. We knew Radke had power, you know, so maybe not the smartest bet, but at the same time, you know, Radke has been so one-dimensional. I thought Urbina was a little bit more well-rounded, but Radke was catching with that left hook, man. That left hook caught him, dropped him. They could have finished it that time, and then he gets back up and gets caught with the exact same left hook. After he got caught with that first left hook, I was like, oh, this fight's over. Yeah, I mean, hey, good win. Good win. Was able to just, you know, push him backwards to the cage, and then just Urbina's striking defense just lets him down again. So great win by Charles Radke. He was a little bit more chill on the mic this time. But, you know, people like him. He's starting to get a little niche fan base. So we'll see, you know. I mean, obviously, just like Molly, you know, gonna be a big step up after those wins, but you know, we'll see what they can do. Next up, man, we had one of my favorite fights on the card. I had some big underdog money on Muradov. I got him at plus 146. I was pretty confident in it. I will say, like the Molly fight, the Kizraev coming to the weigh-ins, I was like, oof, he's looking in the best shape of his career. This could be a little dangerous, but you know, the layoff, there was enough things there to make me, you know, if you're going to give me big plus money like that, I'll take it. Unfortunately, Kizraev, totally unintentional, but 10 seconds into the fight, just pokes the hell out of Muradov in the eye, and can't continue. And this was not like I didn't even really see anybody trying to say, oh, he was faking it. It's like, dude, he couldn't open that eye. That thing swelled up shut immediately. It was a really bad eye poke. It is what it is, man. He literally could not fight. So, unfortunate. Maybe they'll rebook it. We'll see. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see how that line goes now that everybody sees that weigh-in. Obviously we didn't see anything in the fight, but we'll see. But hopefully they do rebook it quick. Next up, we had Natalia Silva versus Viviane Araújo. Not the most entertaining fight, but, Natalia Silva's striking is good. As the fight went on, she started to take over. Araújo had her moments, and, if you had underdog money on Araújo, big underdog money, or you had Natalia in your parlays, yeah, it got a little sweaty, but overall, Natalia, was able to take over. Araújo does tend to slow down, and Silva's striking was able to just, she just landed some good shots, was able to hurt Araújo a couple times, and just win, a rightful decision. So, good win for her. She's young. She's got 22 fights, but she's still got, room. It seems like she's improving, so interested to see what goes on with her. I wasn't going to lay that huge price tag on her, but she did get it done and looked good. So let's move on to the next one. We had Randy Brown, Muslim Salikov. Randy, my boy Randy, I'm biased in this one. I love Randy Brown. He's the homie, cool-ass dude. But, he looked great. Came out, was moving. He has that unique style where he's just so flowy. He's 6'3". He's obviously got the long height and reach, and, he uses that in his style really well. But, he looked on point, and sure enough, he doubles up on a jab. There's not a whole lot else to talk about. They were kind of feeling each other out still a little bit. Randy landed some good shots. Muslim was going for some big spin kicks, and then, as he always does, and then Randy catches him, doubles him up with the jab, and lands this perfect 2. It doesn't look like the hardest. It wasn't right on the temple. It wasn't one of those. It was one of those just on the jaw, just almost looked like a grazing shot. But when you got the torque behind that long Randy Brown reach, and he's so good at extending out that 2 so far and quick. Clipped him bad, dropped him, tried to not have to land any follow-up shots, but the ref didn't immediately stop it. He hit him one time, and then the ref came in there. He showed a lot of discipline. It just shows how calm he is in there. Great win. Gets back on the winning track. He won his Wellington tournament fight, so he's building up 2 in a row. But, I know that the JDM loss hurt, but, JDM's shown how good he is. And, hey, we might end up seeing them run it back down the road. Who knows? They both are going to be in this division a mainstay in a while, so we'll see. But Randy Brown's legit. It was a great win. I was happy to see it. We move on to the co-main event. We had Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober. I'm seeing some people say this fight was boring. I didn't think it was boring, man. It was a high-level fight. Moicano used his grappling. It was grappler versus striker. At one point in the second round, Dober landed some good shots. He also got on top and landed a couple. I think he hit a throw on Moicano, and ended up landing some good shots on top. Swolled up Moicano's eye. I heard some people say it was a headbutt. I don't know. But landed some good shots. It was a competitive fight, especially in that second round. And then in the third, man, Dober tried to hit that same throw. I think it was that he got the takedown in the second, and then Moicano reversed it, get on top, mounted him. The ref is sitting here telling him to work, and he's literally trying to pass the mount. It's I don't know, so dumb. Just it's so annoying, but he's working, man. I'm sorry, Dober isn't a slouch. He's not just gonna completely let him just pass for nothing. It's annoying. But anyways, Moicano gets it done. Just uses grappling. I thought he did a good job. He was trying to push the finish. Dober was just staying defensively sound. Dober did his job to stay in there and make it close, but I just think his one error was going for that throw, getting put on his back. But it is what it is. Moicano gets on the mic. He calls out MMA Guru. He says he wants to be a cop and go after the bad guys. It was a pretty good post-fight speech. The MMA Guru stuff seemed to blow up a little bit. I used to just be I think this Guru guy is just all negativity and stuff. But, I've seen some of his stuff, and I'm okay, I see what he's doing. He's just making content. He doesn't bother me at all. He knows some of the stuff he says is a little outlandish, but, it seems like him and Hanato are actually cool, I guess. So that Hanato probably smart. He's trying to build his YouTube. Obviously, MMA Guru's got a big audience, so it was a smart call out. Can't hate on it. Then we went into the main event, man. Nasruddin Imavov, Roman Dolidze. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. Let me know, what your favorite fight in the card was. How terrible I am for picking Gilbert Urbina. I'm cool with it. But yeah, I mean, or how terrible his videos. Whatever. How much you think I need to. I don't know, change my life and just be a better person. Yeah, whatever you got. Roman Dolidze gets clipped in that first round, and honestly, it seemed like he never recovered. Nasruddin Imavov, he is in the Russian sniper for a reason, man. I mean, dude got hands, and he landed some good shots. It did seem like I was talking about earlier that he pushed for the finish and kind of slowed him down a little bit after the first. Dolidze had some moments, but man, like there was just such a speed advantage. And they both got tired, so like the faster guy was able to just get off first. Imavov showed good takedown defense, but Dolidze's never really had like fantastic wrestling. He's big, jacked, scary looking, but he really, like, a lot of people think he's a better wrestler than he is, but his wrestling just isn't the best. And since he was getting struck on the feet, he didn't really have a plan B to go to besides trying to at one point he pulled butterfly guard, hit a nice little sweep, tried to roll on a knee bar, stayed on top for a little bit. He had a couple good moments, but overall Imavov was just able to, defend out of those grappling exchanges, take it back to the feet where he just landed the better shots. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight. It wasn't the most exciting card, but some good performances and some big underdogs hitting. So pretty fun card. Not the greatest card of all time. Next week not the greatest card, but then we got 298, 299, and 300. Even a couple of those little fight nights around that time are pretty. Got some bangers on them. So it's still a good time to be an MMA fan. I am ready for this 11-week stretch, man. I especially after at least Neil Magny round 3 on 297 bailed me out of honestly, I'll admit it, not a great betting card. This card I didn't get bailed out. I had that, I didn't agree with the Quinones decision, but still not a great betting card for me. So I'm really just looking forward to this stretch. I'm gonna bounce back next week. I mean, we won money last week still. Hit just so big on that round 3 prop, but I'm already. I've been in the tape for next week for like 2 weeks now. So I think I'm gonna have a good bounce back week. It was a good card. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully y'all made some money and hopefully enjoyed it. Hopefully you're looking forward to the next card, even though, let's be honest, it's not the greatest. It's still going to be a fun stretch, man. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Leave a like on the video or leave a dislike if you absolutely hate it and tell me I suck. I appreciate you. Peace.